Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. You know what we're about to do. So, this week is the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And I watched last night with, about 30, 40 of my closest, nearest, and dearest friends who are the best live chat on the planet. It was very interesting. I got a lot out of it. I feel like I understand what the RNC is trying to do. So I wanted to just jump on real quick. There was a quick summary video I wanted to kind of go over and kind of give some highlights of. I don't think I've seen a really good highlight reel of the whole event. I see some like highlights of highlights, but example, Trump showed up like 45 minutes before the end of it, but there had been almost 3 hours of content before. But so I want to go over some of those things, talk about those, hear what your thoughts were. There were some really good conversations in the live chat, and I would love to continue those on today. So that's what we're going to do. And it's not going to be super long, I promise. I'm going to try my best to keep this within an hour. And because I'm coming back tonight, because we're going to be watching night 2 of the convention as well. So first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat already. I see good folk like Nurse Chels is in the house. Let me move this out of the way. Nurse Chels is in the building saying hello and greetings to you as well. Grace and peace. I see Tina in the house. Good to see you, Tina. So sorry about the claims. Yeah. Oh, so during the live stream, during the RNC, they have like these little commercials where they're basically addressing topics. So the theme last night was Make America Wealthy Again. So they were actually at gas pumps talking to people about gas prices, or in the grocery store talking to people about the prices of staples and so on and so forth. I kind of remember some guy bringing that up as a campaign strategy. I don't know who it is. Maybe some people can remind me who that was that said that a couple of months ago. But anyway, I digress. However, during those segments, they have some copyrighted music. And granted, the segments were great, spot on the money, fantastic. There was like 7 of those segments. And I woke up this morning to a wonderful email basically saying I got 7 copyright dings. So I have to edit them out or something. I'm not going to do that. The whole thing was like 4 hours long. I'm not going to edit those little clips out. I think they definitely were useful, and I think they're good, but I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to take the videos down. So what I'll probably do is just live stream it and won't worry about putting it back up. Maybe when I do like they're not claims, they're copyright dings. So basically you can't monetize the video. You can't, anything that you would get from the video goes to the copyright owner. So, I mean, I wish they hadn't done that, because that's going to limit a lot of people's interaction with the content. So the RNC probably is limiting themselves by doing that. That's just my little 2 cents. I don't know why they did that, but so what I'll probably do is maybe when this whole thing's over with, maybe I'll just do like an omnibus cut of maybe the best, or, some of the better segments of it. And then maybe, and again, I thought those segments were super dope, actually. And I would love to shine some light on those, but if I'm gonna get a copyright for them or get a ding for them, I'm not gonna do that. So what does that mean? I'm not gonna spread the message that the RNC wanted to spread, because they used copyright music in those clips. So maybe note to the big wigs and the big brains, don't use copyrighted music that people can't use, because I can't use that clip. So I won't be able to share the message that you had, which was a very good message. Just something to think about. Don't use copyrighted music. Use ad-free or open source music so that everybody can share it. Just something to think about, RNC. Hey, DNC, make sure you use ad-free and copyright-free music in your clips so that people can utilize your content and push it out there, because then people can share it more. Just something to think about. Not trying to tell you how to run your business, but hey, I know y'all. I know the RNC be watching my channel, so hey, keep at it. So that's what happened on yesterday. But good to see 11 Alive is doing something about the election right now. Jason, let's see what they're doing. I was going to go to Atlanta news first, but I'll give 11 Alive a little bit of shine. I got no problem with that. Let's jump over there real quick and see what they're doing. My goal was to be under an hour of power, if you will. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see. If they're saying good stuff, we might be a little bit longer. Okay, I'm seeing that they're talking about Georgia election information, and though if this is it, then I'm not gonna. I don't want to talk about Georgia elections right now. Yeah, because this is talking about
non-citizens had attempted to register. People say, well, that's just a small faction.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to talk about Georgia elections right now. So, but I do want to talk about last night's RNC. So let's jump in it. But I do see some good people here. Let me real quick shout out all my good folk. Good to see you, Jason Hodges. Always good to see that name. Always good to see you. I saw you somewhere else earlier today. Let's see. DWC is one. Campaign consulting commission fee. That's what I want. I'm looking in my mailbox. I'm checking my Cash App. I'm checking my crypto wallet. Where, dear RNC, where is my campaign royalties for that? And don't use royalty-free music. I mean, don't use royalty heavy music. Come on. Thank you so much, Shelby. Says your camera is really nice. You mind sharing your streaming equipment? Guess what? I'm glad that you brought that up. I actually have an entire grocery list of all the equipment that I use. And let me make sure I have it ready. Thank you so much for reminding me, Shelby. Shelby coming through with the reminding old dear world Christian, because I'm getting old in my thoughts. I have that ready for y'all. Actually, I do. And I call it a grocery list. It is basically just a shopping list with all the links where you can find all that stuff. And oh no, where'd I put it? Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Shelby. I did actually have it ready and I forgot. I should have had it queued up, but of course I didn't have it ready. But yeah, I have a grocery list with all the links so you can pick up all those items on Amazon or wherever else you can shop for them and such like that. Let me get you that list right now. And if you, and I broke it down, Shelby, into if you're trying to do a studio, if you're trying to do a vlog, if you're doing a larger scale studio, because I actually own a larger scale studio as well. And here's the link right here. Right, yep, there it is. There you go, right there, friend. Grace and peace. Check that out. So I have it for a small studio like I have here at my home. If you're doing like a vlog or man or woman on the street. And then of course, if you're doing a larger studio, I have that. And that's going to be, I'm editing that all the time. I'm adding more stuff to it because I realize like I want to put sound panels on there. I might need to put cables on there as well. So I'm going to be adding stuff to it. So if you hold on to it, you'll see that I've updated it as I'm adding more stuff and remembering stuff that I need to add, like a desk. There's no desk on there. All right. What's going on, Q? Good to see you, Q. Thank you for hanging out with us and listening along. Not a problem, Shelby. Not a problem at all. Okay, let's look at this thing from last night. Now, I have not found a really good, again, like I said, a real true summary of what happened, like a highbrow. So I think that's probably going to be a good indicator that I should probably do one. Just do a 30,000 foot view of this, of the RNC, because this is my first time ever watching a political convention from gavel to gavel. I've never done that before. So watching it with you all was very informative for me. It was helpful for me because it made me pay attention. And then when I watched some of the highlight reels or some of the commentaries and definitely some of the critiques, I'm like, that's not what they were talking about. Now, granted, there are some bad things in there too. We're going to talk about those as well. But a lot of the stuff that I've heard from critiques, I think they're making an assumption that you yourself are not going to go watch the RNC. I would highly encourage you to go watch it. Don't just take my word for it, because I'm going to give you a quick Atlanta News First summary of it. But is that right? There we go. I'm going to give you a quick summary of it, but I highly recommend that you watch it yourself. It was very informative. As I said before, I got a lot out of it, and I think it would be beneficial if you just, took the time. If it's important to you, if this election, as they like to tell us, is the most important election of our lives, if that's true, then take the time to watch the whole thing so you can make an informed, educated decision about who it is and why it is that you're voting like you are. Just seems to be a good idea. So, but I haven't seen a good summary of this. So let's go ahead and watch it. It's just a very quick one. We'll probably stop a little bit about it, and let's get at it. I should chop this off.
Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Limdacker, and taking a look at some of the top stories that we're following right now. There's an investigation into a crash involving a morning. We are learning new details about the shooter who came close to taking former President Trump's life on Saturday in Pennsylvania. He went to a gun range near Pittsburgh in the days before the shooting, is what we've learned. And just hours ahead of the rally, he bought a box of ammunition for his father's AR-style rifle. Still no word on a possible motive, even though investigators have accessed the gunman's cell phone. Of course, we're going to keep following the latest developments on that story and keep you up to date as we learn more. Now, this all comes as the Republican National Convention continues today. Yesterday, the party officially nominated former President Donald Trump for president in a roll call of state delegates. Monday's theme focused on the economy with speeches from governors and members of Congress. Today's theme is Make America Safe Again. Trump's former 2024 primary rival, Nikki Haley, is also scheduled to speak. And we also do want to highlight that Democratic opponent, President Biden, also on the campaign trail this week as well, and he will address the NAACP convention in Las Vegas later today. And former President Trump will formally accept the nomination on Thursday in Milwaukee for the Republican Party. And I do want to remind you that Atlanta News First, all week long, we have special coverage from the Republican National Convention, breaking all this down from Milwaukee. Our Doug Reardon, political reporter, is in Milwaukee throughout the week to bring you the latest. And watch us live every day on Atlanta News First Plus starting at 11 a.m. as we take a closer look, a deep dive into everything political that is happening, particularly with the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Okay, also making headlines as well. An official pick for running mate. Mr. Trump a good time? Is it great to have the president back in Ohio? Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio to join him on the Republican ticket. He announced on social media yesterday that was his selection. We brought you that as breaking news yesterday here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Mr. Trump's statement said in part that after considering the many talents of others, he decided the best person to serve as vice president.
I don't know why. Okay, Atlanta News First, they need to turn down the audio on the clip because it's hard to hear her and this gentleman speaking at the same time. J.D. Vance is speaking on the clip, and then the reporter is speaking, and it sounds very confusing. That's a rookie mistake.
If you are not all that into politics, you might have heard yesterday's news and thought, who is J.D. Vance? Well, political junkies certainly know who he is. At age 39, Vance is the first millennial on a presidential ticket. He's a first-time senator from Ohio. He grew up in poverty and served in the Marines as a military journalist. He has degrees from Ohio State University and Yale Law School. When we first learned Vance was Trump's pick for a running mate, we sent a crew to the Marietta Square just to get a sense of what people are saying. Strong Biden supporters told us they're still voting for Biden. Strong Trump supporters said it didn't matter who he picked, they're still going to vote for him no matter what. Here's a sampling of what people who aren't strong supporters of.
It is interesting they came to Marietta Square because where the reporter is reporting is downtown Atlanta. And I mean, that's the federal building back there in the backdrop. And then she's here in Marietta. Again, I'm in Marietta. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it just seems interesting that they would come all the way to Marietta, which is known to be a little bit more Trump friendly than downtown Atlanta, which just seems odd. But okay, just something I noticed.
Of either candidate said.
the young generation, he's giving opportunity to somebody, younger to participate of this type of position. That's really important.
Not bad. Impressive resume for such a young guy. Not bad at all. I have to still.
Oh, that's the Cobb Superior Court. So if the disqualification hearing, the Trump, the election interference case, anything like that had moved to Cobb County, this is where it would have been. My studio is down the street from here. I think that's hilarious.
Read more about him and look into it, but it's not bad.
If Trump
Now,
wins
that's
in
downtown
November,
Atlanta.
Vance would be the third youngest vice president in U.S. history. In Atlanta, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
Okay.
I didn't find another good summary of it. So I'm going to go through my good, bad, and ugly. I like doing that format. I think it's from when I was a school teacher. We had a lot of fun with good, bad, and uglies. So I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly from last night's convention. And feel free. We're going to start with the good, and then we'll go to the bad, and then we'll go to ugly. So I want you all to comment as well, please. So right now, we're just going to talk about what was good about last night. And I'll just spitball some of mine out. Let me grab my notes because they're safe out of the way because I put them away. All right. Got them. Okay. Good. It was good, in my opinion, that they had a very wide mix of people on the stage last night. They had men, women, Black, Asian, Hispanic, of course, white. They had lots of good mix of people. I thought that was very smart. I thought it was strategic. There was a lot of just a wide berth of people. There were just common people. There were business owners. There were senators, career politicians. It was a whole mix of them. It wasn't just all politicians or all single moms or anything like that. I thought that was very good. So, okay. So that would be my first good thing. I also feel like they did a very good job of focusing on individuals. If you go back and watch, there was not identity politics being played. It wasn't, we're doing this for the Black people. There were Hispanic people that were speaking directly to the Hispanic population, sure. But it wasn't, it was just like as a representative of the Hispanic population, XYZ, ABC. There wasn't a heavy-handed push for group identity or identity politics shenanigans. And I think that was fantastic. And you could see all throughout the night, from the very first speech all the way to the end, they were building you up, in my opinion, to get to this place of recognizing that we are all individuals that work together, which gets me to my third point. I'm not a union guy, okay? I don't believe that unions are as beneficial as we need them as much today. However, the union president, of the Teamsters Union? That dude had me thinking I might need to join a union. That guy was amazing. I'm thoroughly surprised. I'm like, yo, he got me looking, check, see if I need a union card. He was very engaging, and and I think he was good to bring together all of those threads from all the previous, I don't know how many there were, let's say 20 other speeches. All of those threads came together into, we are working together on this project. And we are working together. And I thought it was appropriate that it was a union guy talking about that. So I would say, hands down, again, I'm surprised that I'm saying this. I'm checking my own temperature, looking to make sure that I'm not a doppelganger. That union guy brought the noise. He brought the noise. There were some speeches that we were all like amped up, like, oh yeah, they're going to be. I did not expect that. I probably would go as far to say that the keynote speech from the union representative, his last name was O'Brien, I think that was probably one of the better ones. It definitely is in the top three. If it's not number one, it's in the top three. Because he really, and I strongly, if you did not watch the RNC last night, you don't care about politics, you hate Trump, whatever, I would strongly encourage you to go watch it. I know you're going to watch it on double speed. You can blitz through the music. You can blitz through some of the commercials and stuff like that. but I really believe that you would benefit from watching it. So I feel like they did a good job of spreading out the different types of people. Not everybody was, they started out with they had a choir that was singing, and I think they were exceptional people on the spectrum. And their singing was maybe not as moving and, that you might want it to be. They were singing the national anthem. But I realized, I said, these are people that might be considered not a part of the GOP, not a part of the RNC's plan, and so on and so forth. So they brought them out to start with. And then the rest of the night, from black men to white women to Hispanic women to Hispanic men and Teamsters Union and everybody, you saw this thread of all of these people that maybe you might have considered are not a part of the GOP, because you think the GOP is just old white men. No, there's young people up in this joint. And I think that goes to my last point, my last good, not last good. There's a lot of goods, but another good is I think it was a smart thing to do to tap J.D. Vance for vice president. Now, many people know that I've said this before, and I make no hay about it. The both parties, and if you want to include independents and libertarians, all parties should stop running people that are multiple decades older than the minimum age. That's dumb. If the minimum age for president is 35 and you run somebody who's 75 years old, that's your fault that you lose. That's your fault, Democrats. That's your fault, Republicans, that you're running a career politician that's 40 years older than the minimum age. And good gracious alive, somebody who's never worked outside of the private sector in the last century. That's dumb. So for Trump to tap somebody who's 39 years old, that's crazy, because this guy has not known having the internet in his home. This dude does not know what a dial tone is. He has not rolled down the window with the little crank. That's different. That's a whole different demographic that now he can relate to that I probably can't relate to. I got a 16-year-old in my house, 17-year-old in my house. I'm sorry. I can't relate to her sometimes. So imagine the fact that now you got somebody who can relate to that much younger group of people and they can understand what they're talking about. That's a whole different game. A whole different game. Now, whether or not he's perfect, come on, let's not waste our time. We can get into when we talk about the bad and the ugly, we can talk about those. I don't know if the guy's perfect, but I know one thing, his age is appropriate for the day and age that we're in, because everybody realizes it, whether you want to or not, that whoever is the vice president is probably going to have to assume some responsibilities in the next 4 years. There you go. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. So Kamala, she knows it. She knows good and well that there's a high probability that she is going to have to assume responsibility. J.D. Vance, he knows it. I mean, we saw what happened in Pennsylvania. So having a younger vice president is only a benefit, because that person understands a group of people that, I'm sorry, there's no way in the world you're going to convince me that Joe Biden understands what the 40 and under crowd is dealing with Tinder or dating apps or any of that foolishness. There's no way you're going to convince me that Trump or Biden understand that. Kamala don't understand that. J.D. Vance, he's in that cohort. So in my opinion, that was actually a very smart move. Now, whether or not, and we're going to all find out on Wednesday, I think it is, when J.D. Vance addresses the convention, we're going to find out how electrifying he is. We're going to find out how charismatic he is. We're going to find out how able he is to connect with the audience. And we're going to all be waiting around and taking notes, I'm sure. But I think we all can agree, or we should be able to agree, that having a younger VP is not a disadvantage in this current climate when everybody that's been running has been multiple decades older than the minimum age. Those are my goods from the convention. So let me see real quick what some people have said in here. I see Shelby says she don't remember who Trump's VP was. It was Mike Pence. All right. I'm sure somebody already said that. I'm sorry. I think we're talking about, the teams. I'm sorry. Yo, I'm not a teamster. I'm not a union guy. I'm not out here, stumping for unions. That dude was electrifying. I was very impressed. And he was not somebody I would have said, oh yeah, he's going to be electrifying. This is going to be the best speech of the night. Yikes. I was wrong. I liked him. You know what? Vance probably is a good old boy. That's probably fine. He probably drinks White Claw and wears his hat backwards out at the lake every weekend. But you know what? I'm not going to dunk on Kamala. I'm going to leave Kamala alone for right now. All right. So Q said, I thought too many women spoke. But then again, I am not fond of women in politics as I think about it. You know what we need to do, and I'm gonna try to do a better job, is keep track of like the demographics. Keep some of those stats. How many women speak? What are their backgrounds? How many men speak? I should have been doing that last night. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I'll try to do that tonight and just keep track of it. Because I did notice there was a lot of women speaking. No problem there. I'm with you, Q. Yeah, see, in this day and age, break the mold. And what Shelby says, agreed. We don't want old men set in their old ways. There you go. But even in that, it might not even be that they're set in their old ways. They just don't know. And they're going to have to hire people that are younger than them. Because Joe Biden is not tweeting, right? You know that. But he's got to hire somebody to take care of that. JD Vance at least understands it. That's all I'm saying. Sure, he's still going to probably tap somebody to do it, which would probably make sense. But at least he knows what's going on. The leader of the country, Major Victory says, should have the stamina to do so. Yikes. Let me give you that. I like it. Oh, don't worry about it, Tina. We're all old together. We're going to be old together. Grace and peace. Oh, no. There's nothing wrong with the window crank. I'm only saying that they've never had to do it. They ain't never had to crank down that window. They ain't never did that. I guarantee you, JD Vance don't even know what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm talking about. That whole crowd, the can't read cursive, ain't never cranked down a window, that whole crowd. That's what I'm talking about. There are people who want AOC to be president. God forbid that happens. I don't think they think about what they're talking about. AOC is she's basically a social media representative. Like she's almost the first elected social media influencer. That's her how she has garnered so much support through social media. And then of course, some of the things like the pandemic and so forth. But think about it. Because of her age, she's used to that type of technology. There's no way in the world. It's hard for me to put content out for my own studio, and we make content. So it's hard for me to do that, but it's native for this group of people to do that. And that's all I'm pointing out. All right, let's see. All right. Lots of good conversation back and forth. Always glad about that. Good to see you from Germany. Big Bot. Always good. Thank you so much. All the way across the pond. This is something I think, and I saw this theme quite a bit last night as well. This was not listed under my good, but I just noticed it. What is it? What did I notice? Vance was born and raised in poor Appalachian Mountain area. He wrote about his life in an autobiography, Hillbilly Elegy, which was made into a feature film. I noticed a lot of people on the stage yesterday were people that had a story of coming from some form of poverty. Not saying that everybody doesn't. It just seemed like they didn't lead with people that were born into affluence. They didn't lead with people who had it all together before they stepped on the stage. No, there are people who, like, literally somebody was talking about how they were in foreclosure relatively recently. So like they had money struggles before. So knowing, I think that really drew people in, like, oh, I can understand these people. It's not just people like, oh, I don't care how much gas costs. I don't care how much stuff is at the grocery. It impacts me too. So I just thought that was in my opinion, a well-placed strategy for having, for addressing such a thorny topic, is leading with people who've overcome that thorny topic. We don't need any career politicians. Major Victory says there should be term limits in Congress, or else we'll have people in their 90s still in office. Okay, I've said this before, Major Victory. We already have term limits. The problem is people keep going in and electing the exact same people. That's our fault. Term limits exist. They exist. They're called elections. And if people said, we're not electing, we think you're a great Major Victory, you've been a fantastic representative, but you have to go. And we're going to elect somebody else. Even though you've done great, we pray that you'll be able to mentor the new person in, but you have to go. But what ends up happening is people say, oh, my senator, my congressman, my representative, they've been good. They're great. They don't have to go. And that's how you have 40, 50-year career politicians, because their people say, oh, they're good. Your person is bad. My person's good. So I'm going to keep my person. You need to get rid of your person. Now, sure, if they had across the board term limits, that would be ideal too. But we already have term limits. They're called elections. We just don't elect our people out. This is an interesting topic right here. The unhinged far left women. I think the RNC, this was another good that I can add to it. I think the RNC did a great job of having poised, well-articulated women and men of different political stripes. It's going to be really interesting to see the contrast at the DNC. It's going to be really interesting. For crying out loud, Marjorie Taylor Greene made me like her yesterday. I was like, if this is how Marjorie rocks, I might have to reconsider my affinity for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She came across wonderfully. And so it's going to be very interesting to see who the DNC puts up in a month, like August 19th, who they put up. It's going to be very interesting to see who they put up, because there's going to be I think there's going to be a stark contrast. So let's keep this going. I want to get to my bads. Okay, I see Miss Mandy's in the building. Miss Mandy, good to see you. Grace and peace. Don't forget my email. I sent you an email earlier. All right. Lots of good conversation in the chat. Okay. Yeah, see that, and they did a great job of showing buyer's remorse, or Biden's remorse, I'll call it. They had a woman who literally voted for Biden last election. You had somebody who was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, and until she started doing the research. That was telling, I think. Okay, let me get to okay, let me see. Okay, let me get to my bad. Okay, the bad. I think unless, and I hope they do, some of those who spoke today, and this is like a bad with an asterisk next to it. Some of those who spoke yesterday, I really hope they're going to be speaking the rest of the week. Wesley Hunt and Tim Scott and Donalds and others, they really need to speak more often. And the reason I say that is because, and I'm calling it bad with an asterisk, because if they speak all week and they speak several times, then I'll put it in the good category. If they only spoke yesterday and they don't speak again, then it's going to be a very bad look. I think they need to make sure that these voices get out there before and after and when is not an election cycle, so people can see them. Those are going to be some very good clips of those men speaking. And I think by doing that, they're going to, again, put in the bad with an asterisk. If they do that, it's going to only allow those men to solidify themselves in other positions. Okay? And if they don't, then they're going to just die. Their voices are going to get drowned out, and their voices are going to go or die down, and people are not going to be able to, are not going to know, like, why should I care about Wesley Hunter? Who is this Tim Scott guy? They need to be out there more often, and I think this is a great place to do it, right there on the center stage, on this big stage. They need to be speaking more often. I hope they do. Now, with that, another bad. Amber Rose should not have been on stage yesterday. I understand her story. I understand that she was a Democrat and she started researching and she sees the errors in her ways and she became a Republican. I totally get it. But, and this will be a commonality moving forward. If the Republican Party wants to show themselves as being inclusive, and it's such like that, they still have to raise up the standard above the Democratic Party. That's what the problem is. You can't use the exact same Democrat ideologies and the same Democrat caricatures. And because the Democrats are going to do that. They're going to have some blue-haired, nose through the ring through the nose, tattoos all over their face person on the stage. You know that. They're going to have some man that thinks they're a woman on the stage. You know that. The RNC did not need to have Amber Rose on there. She's a corn star, for lack of a much better definition. That's not a good look for the Republican Party. It looks super thirsty. It looks like you needed support, and therefore you would tap somebody who ideologically supports you, but morally is debased. I mean, let's just tell the truth. Shame the devil. Now, I will say this though she was reading it, the speech that Amber Rose gave and the story and testimony that she gave was very compelling. It was very compelling. It made a lot of sense. I can understand her journey and such like that. That does not mean that she needed to get a space on the platform on yesterday. So a bad would be that they should not have had Amber Rose on there. I don't think that was the right look for them at all. It just seemed a little bit contrived. If there's anything in there that I saw last night that I said, man, this one looked like you just made this, you just shoehorned this in. You try and put a square peg in a round hole. It was Amber Rose. The last bad, and this is like a two-parter. I think the use and the appealing to God, and I'm first of all, the word God, G-O-D, I'm not 100% certain it meant the same thing to everybody on the stage that used it. However, the appeal to God was problematic for me because during your articulation of your platform, I did not hear one of the most telling examples in my mind that you are appealing to the one true living God. And that would be the complete and utter abomination of the practice of deleting children in the womb. I didn't hear you speak against that negatively, but you kept referring to God. So it just seemed kind of weird to me that they were appealing to God. But one of the most telling examples of a practice that God would call us to do, the protection of little people, was not there. So I thought that was weird that you're constantly appealing to God. You're appealing to God multiple times. If you watched the first hour and a half, you would have thought it was like a Baptist church convention. There was a lot of appealing to God, which is fine. There just wasn't an abomination of the sins because there was an assumption, and I know somebody's going to get upset with this, and this is leading into my ugly. There's this assumption that America is a Christian nation. We don't have to fight about this. I don't believe that, but I'm not going to fight with you if you do believe that. I'm only going to ask you to just consider some things about that thought process. The reason I bring that up is if you're saying that America is a Christian nation and that it has some type of special place as it relates to its relationship with God, don't you also see and understand that our sins If you're saying we're a Christian nation, then we have collective sins as well. The deletion of little people would be probably have you going down to millstones or us going ahead and get fitted, because you realize we are all in deep soup. Now, if you don't believe that we're a Christian nation, I don't believe we're a Christian nation at all. I believe that we started on Christian principles. We can definitely point to Christians and people who believe in God, so on and so forth, in our founding, all that stuff. But the nation itself has never been a Christian nation. That would mean that the vast majority of people were practicing Christians. I don't think that we have that. I don't think that's a good place to land. But if that's the case, then we're watching practicing Christian nation completely and utterly decimate the next generation through the deletion of children, the skyrocketing debt, and so many other things that we do. I think it's safer to say that we're not a Christian nation. That way, at least the onus of us trying to live to be Christian as a nation would be off of us. We still need to repent and turn away from our sins. But this notion, I don't think it's a good one. So going from my bad into my ugly is I don't believe that we're a Christian nation. And that doesn't mean that we don't preach the gospel. That doesn't mean that we don't preach and teach. It doesn't mean that we don't seek to do right, and so on and so forth. But I think the idea, the notion that we're a Christian nation, I don't think we have that moral high ground. And my point, example A, exhibit A, if you will, is our bloodlust for little people. It's an abomination. And if we claim to be a Christian nation, then our insatiable desire to delete little people should cause us to pause as a nation, but we're not. Now, last bad. Okay. I have no idea what we saw at the end. And most of you all know what I'm referring to. And I'm going to actually bring it up on the screen. And that's not the right screen. There it is. All right. I'm going to bring this up. I have no clue what this was.
This earth, where all people are free to worship.
This young lady, she was ending, they were giving the benediction. So literally everything was completed. It was over. If they had turned the lights off, nobody would have said anything. But they had this young lady come up to give a benediction. And she is I don't know what the religious practice is that she subscribes to. I don't know what it was. However, she came up and can we just keep it 100? The woman's praying to a demon, like she's praying to a false god, and calls the false god the one true living God. Dear RNC, I'm okay with you not imposing the name of God and trying to twist scripture into your political narrative. I'm perfectly okay with that if you don't do that, because this right here was so different from the start. Remember I told you in the beginning, it seemed like a Baptist church convention. I mean, it was very, lots of God and Jesus being thrown around. And then at the end, you have this woman, somebody said, a reformed, a Punjabi Sikh. I don't even know what that is. But what she did in this prayer, she's praying to a demon. I'm not going to say it any other way. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I guess, and my bads would have been pretty short. My bad list would have been pretty short. But this at the end, my ugly list, forgive me, would have been pretty short. But this at the end really just took the cake. Like, what in the world am I seeing? And the chat was there too. We were all trying to figure this out. Like, wait, you're praying to...
Dear Waheguru.
Right. Like she literally calls a false god. I'm sorry. Like she called another god and calls him, this false god, the one true God. I don't even know I don't even know what that is. So, and again, I'm not expecting the RNC to be Presbyterian. I'm not expecting them to become Calvinist at all. That's not my point. What I am saying, however, is maybe, just maybe, you should lean off, again, the leaning on Christian principles, either go all in or don't do those type of things. Because to me, it doesn't work. And it only causes more problems than it solves. That again, this ecumenicalism, this mixing thing is going to be problematic. Now, by no means am I saying that we can't have, Punjabi Sikh people living in America. No, go ahead and live here. That's fine. I want our nation to live at peace. I want us to be able to live at peace so that we can have dialogue with these people. Because this woman is praying to a false god. I want to be able to have freedom so I can speak with Jehovah's Witnesses and Muslims and such of that nature and have full dialogue with them. I don't want interaction. I don't need the government to interact with me to impede me from being able to communicate with other people, aka hate speech or political speech or whatever. I don't want that. So, dear RNC, don't do this again, please. Y'all got 3 more nights. Please don't do this again. I mean, y'all had your Roman Catholics, you had your Lutherans, you had an evangelical, I think it was a Baptist minister praying at one point, and then you had this lady at the end as well. I understand what you're doing. And you're in like a catch-22 type of situation. You don't want to, isolate. I got you. I totally got you. But, and maybe it's just me. I don't look to my elected officials for any kind of biblical knowledge, spiritual advancement, theological truth. I don't look to Trump for any of those things, or Governor Kemp, or the mayor of my town, my HOA president. I don't look at any of them for those things. I just want them to do their job and make sure that my lawn clippings get picked up and make sure that my cities and my streets are safe since, President Firstborn is driving. Those are the things I look to my elected officials to do. I do not look to my elected officials to give me the doctrine of God. I am not looking for a 5-point Calvinist mayor. I'm not doing that. I am not going to ask Trump what is his thoughts on Charles H. Spurgeon's deep teaching on the downgrade principle. I'm not going to ask him that because I don't want to hear it and I don't care. Dear RNC, we don't need you to be a adjunct junk drawer for theology. We just need you to be good politicians. We need you to be straightforward, truthful, honest politicians that do the right things for all people, because I'm going to tie a bow on this whole thing. I think they did an outstanding job yesterday of showing that all of these people, the disabled, the different ethnic groups, even religious groups, are all Americans. They did not lean on that identity politics, going back to my good. They didn't lean on the identity politics. They pointed out that all of us are Americans and we are all struggling under Bidenomics. We all want to do better. We all want to be able to save and send our kids to college and do all this stuff. That was a great point. So stick there. That's where you live, RNC. We don't need you to be theological giants. Please don't. Don't. Because if you keep doing this stuff, you're going to isolate people and you're not going to entreat them. You're actually going to confuse people more than you do anything else. That's my good. That's my bad. And those are my ugly. We'll do it again tonight. That's it. Now, hopefully I didn't get too many people mad at me about what I said, but you know what to do, y'all. Y'all know what to do. DearWokesy@gmail.com. Email management. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm a terrible person for that. Let's see what we got. Let's see. See, this is a great point. Major victory. Yeah, like there is a cross-dresser named Lady MAGA. It's a man that dresses up as a woman that is politically is, on the right, but externally dresses up as a woman. It's confusing as all get out. And I hope that they don't bring him there. Because see, that's what I'm talking about. Like you're just doing the exact same thing that the left is going to do. Because we already know the left is going to do that. We already know Biden's going to do that. Let's see what we got. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate you. Thank you, friend. Kelly said, I discern the same. I'm not certain what, hopefully it's something good I did. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, Willie Doc. I appreciate Willie Doc for the $2 super chat. He says, blessings, bro, in chat. Amber Rose, was that bad? Okay, let me go back to Amber Rose. I'll be honest with you. If you take the speech that Amber Rose gave and give it to one of your church mothers and have her read it, you would be amening and, passing the plate. I think the speech was great. I think what she said, her testimony was extremely compelling. She was raised by a Democrat. One day she started reading up and researching about who Trump is and what Republicans believe. And she said, this is what I believe too. And she became a Republican supporting Trump. It's a great story. It's just that it was Amber Rose. I mean, I'll be honest with you. She dressed respectfully on stage. She just had a very tight fitting black dress on. It was full length. So it was all the way down her arms, all the way down to her ankles. It wasn't like she was running around here crazy. Now, granted, the stuff that she has done elsewhere is super duper problematic. And to me, I feel like, I don't know if you needed to have her at the RNC. Because has she turned away from her hyper feminism? Has she turned away from the SLUT walks that she does and reclaiming the SLUT name and stuff like that? Has she done away with that stuff? Because I don't know, that one might not have been a good look. So it wasn't that it was bad. It was just that it was Amber Rose. Again, if somebody else had said it, we wouldn't be having this conversation. All right. Yeah, this is a great point. And I think Major Victory says some people say that today's Republicans are just Democrats from 5 years ago. And that's true. And I think that's always been true. So it is on the Republicans to make a change so that this is not true anymore. That's all. All right, what we got here? Lots of good back and forth. I love the back and forth. Thank you so much for thanking Willie Doc. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I'm 100% here with you, Major Victory. There shouldn't be any form of it, period. There you go. Problem solved. We just catch me outside. There we go. We just figured it out, but no. All right, lots of good. Yeah, see, this is the contradiction in my mind, Tina. You are appealing to God throughout the whole thing. Matter of fact, the prayer before the woman got up to pray to the demon was fairly decent. And again, appealing to God to help us and so forth. And then you get somebody up here praying to, I don't even know what that was. And I think this is true. Shelby, by the way, thank you so much. Shelby says Amber Rose shouldn't be on anyone's political stage, but she has a large audience. I think she's trying to say recovering. I see what she's trying to say. 304. I see what you did there. 304 following. So guess they wanted that audience. That's true. You can still do it without her being on the main stage, because please keep in mind, Amber Rose was more of a liability than a credit on the stage. That's all. Because, I mean, again, if you just do a search for her background and her history is problematic for the RNC. I'm not trying to disagree with you, Future. I believe you're right. What does Future say? Let me tell you what Future said. Future says the discussion about deletion of little people will come more during one of the other nights. Last night was about wealth. I agree with that. My only pushback is part of the wealth issue is there's not enough people behind me working to pay for my Social Security. So I do think that the deletion of little people is a wealth problem. It is a wealth issue. I believe it's a border and a security issue, because there's fewer humans, and American humans at that, to do some of the things that we're going to need them to do in the future. I think it is I think population growth and because they make healthcare a multifaceted issue. I think the deletion of little people is also a multifaceted issue. That's just me. I'm not, and hopefully it'll be another night and he'll really say something profound on the matter and be very staunch about it. That's what I want. But that was it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think that we're a Christian nation. I think I don't. Matter of fact, can you show me scripturally where there is a Christian nation and not Christians in a nation? And I'll even give you the whole book. You can get the whole book, the Genesis to Revelation. Show me a Christian nation. And I know where you're going, so I'm here to pick a fight. That's why I gave you the whole book. I just don't think we have a good leg to stand on. It could have been worse if they had a Kardashian, but hey, don't give them ideas, Shelby. Don't give them ideas. There's still a lot of time left. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't watch the Hannity interview, but apparently Hannity asked J.D. Vance about the deletion of little people, and he deferred to Trump's stance and appealed to what voters want. The Republicans are compromising on this practice to get more votes. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, Big Bot is understanding what I'm saying. America isn't a Christian nation. Moral people aren't necessarily Christians. Politicians sway morally to the whims of the people. And we see this already. America's moral compass is blown hither and thither all over the place. All right, let's see.
Daddy, I love you.
Wait, you love me for what? Hold on, y'all. What does that mean?
I'm going to the pool.
We just going.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Live chat.
Okay. Hi, live chat. President Firstborn says hi.
Hola. Going to the pool.
Are you driving to the pool?
Yeah.
Are you taking your sister?
No, she said she didn't want to go.
Okay. All right. Yo.
Love you, Daddy.
Bye, baby. Have fun.
Bye, T. Love you.
I'm just getting in the car driving places now. This is craziness, y'all. How do we get here? How do we get here, chat? As my daughters like to say. How do we get here? How do we get here where my daughter's I'm getting in the car going. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's another one.
Bye, Chad.
Bye, baby. Hey, check the grill for me. What number is it on? Check the grill. What time is it on the grill?
9 p.m.
About 9 p.m.? Okay, cool. Is there any smoke coming out of there? Do you see any smoke?
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you, babes.
Bye-bye.
Toodles. All right. So I'm done with the RNC. So I taught my daughter, most of y'all know I'm a big green egg fan. So I taught my daughter how to look at the thermometer on the green egg and tell me what time it is. So that way I know how hot the grill has got, and she doesn't have to go outside to look at the exact temperature. So she can look at it and say, it looks like it's like 9 o'clock, or it looks like 8:45. And so I know it's about 300 degrees, which is what I needed to be. I'm smoking some ribs for lunch today. All right. Yeah, so this is going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with y'all. I'm sorry, I'm reading some of the comments here. Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that there's two genders. So does the Bible. So Yeah, she said that. Absolutely. Amber Rose mixed color with being gay. I did hear that. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Amber Rose didn't need to be on this stage. I'm sorry. She did not need to be there, in my opinion. What is innocent bystander talking about? Let's see what the innocent bystander is going to say. He says this: I think the RNC was trying to appeal to more diverse demographic group. Full stop. I agree. But they approached it, in my mind, they approached it as individuals. So they didn't say, hey, we're trying to, this is the segment for black people. This is the segment for white people. This is a segment for, they didn't do that. They just approached it as a whole. And the theme was wealth. So I keep going. I like what you said there. The Democrats have always said that we're the big tent party. Said they are the big tent party. The Republicans are just trying to improve on that same theme. I agree with you. You know what? I can't even disagree. So I agree with you. Thank you so much, Innocent Bystander. Appreciate the comment. American Constitutionalist Party is the best, in my opinion. I just wish the third party was a realistic option. I mean, I used to be a libertarian, so I totally can understand your thought process about that. I do wish there was more party options. I think it would almost be a night and day change if there was 4 viable parties. Or 3, even 3. I think it would be a humongous change in the way that we operate, because nobody would have that full bore dominance over the other party. Now you got 2 other parties that you got to work with. And to me, I think there would be so much more would get done. Now, granted, at any given time, that the wheels on the bus can fall off too. But I think just 3 would make it so much different. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, like how she just gonna get in the car? Like, Dad, I'm out. Like, what in the world? She did tell me she was gonna go to the pool at 12. Huh? I didn't realize. I just kind of looked up and said, "Oh, it's 12." Did you think that Stanley Cup is humongous, man? Because I thought mine was a big cup, and theirs is actually larger than mine. Like, what in the world's going on here? Oh, see, Shelby, you a problem already. Chell, we're going to have to put you in 0-second timeout already. Trina, love a reason to jump in that whip. That's true. That's my girl. That's her. They're beef short ribs. This is something I don't talk about a lot, but I am a fanatic for grilling. I love it. If I could get paid to do it, I would teach classes on grilling. Absolutely. If Big Green Egg ever wanted to hire me, I'm your guy. I would absolutely do it. But so yeah, I stopped by the grocery store this morning. I had to go to the studio and set up for recording today. And I stopped by the grocery store. They had some beef ribs on sale. If your boy finds ribs on sale, he buys them. And so so I said, oh, these will be good for lunch. So hopefully I have not scorched them. They should be good to go though. And so that's gonna be our lunch today. But actually I hear Taylor cooking something. So she said, look, Dad, I ain't got no time for you. Here's my babies. So, but that's it, y'all. So tonight at 7:00, I guess we'll do it again. We'll do day 2 of the RNC watch party. And please bring your questions, bring your ideas, all that kind of stuff like that. And we'll do it again. We'll kind of do like a recap every the next morning. And I'll try to do a better job of kind of keeping up with the different demographics and the things like that, because I think it would be helpful to kind of see, especially if we watch the DNC's convention in a month. I think it'd be kind of cool to see, okay, this is what the RNC did on the first night. This is what the DNC did on the first night, second night, so on and so forth. I think that would be kind of good to do like a compare and contrast. I've cooked it all. I have to say, no, I've not done fruit like watermelon or something, but I've done cauliflower. I've done some crazy things on my green egg. Do not get me started, because you all will be like, Jason, something's wrong with you. You'll be like, Jason, something's wrong with you. Right, green egg. Reach out to your boy. You know, green egg is headquartered out there in Fulton County. They have a headquarters over here in Fulton County, Georgia. Okay, let me see this. Shara says, I think the Republicans choosing to abandon the unborn is going to hurt them more than help. I agree. I think it's, if nothing else, there's a contrast. If you take the time and look at what the 5, maybe 6 major planks of the Democrat Party platform is, you'll realize very quickly they're not a party about life. They're a party of death. They really are. I'm not saying it to be hyperbole. I know a lot of people get in their feelings because I said $8 for a dozen eggs. I was being hyperbole. I was being hyperbolic. But when I talk about the DNC, no, they really are the party of death. Go look at their party platform. What do they support primarily? They do not support family. They do not support marriage. They do not support little people. They do not support old people. They are the party of death. That's what they're about. I know that sounds harsh. You're like, Jason, come on, man, come on. But no, I'm for real. Look it up. Tell me what you think. DearWokC@gmail.com. All right, good people. I really do appreciate y'all. We're going to do this again tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll do the second day of the DNC. I think it's going to probably be interesting. I'm not certain exactly what the theme is going to be today, but shout out to Transplanted Texan. Transplanted Texan has been keeping me up to speed. Y'all, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for Transplanted Texan. Because I'm telling you right now, I would be lost like a ball in tall weeds if it was up to me. But Transplanted Texan keeps texting me and emailing me and keeping me up to speed. So thank you so very much, Transplanted Texan. I want to make sure I say that out loud in front of everybody. Thank you. And really thank you to all of the moderators who keep the conversations moving in a positive direction, keeping the conversation from going off the rails, because I don't be paying attention sometimes. So I really do thank you. Kelly, take care. Thank you so much. I'll see you all this evening. Everybody, thank you so much again. And until next time, grace and peace. Take care.